we don't need anything really today, but if you are in Victoria right now, you might need some warm clothes, you might need a blanket. And we'll start on our backs. And for that, the mat is colder than the room. So I'm really hesitant to lie down. If you have a blanket that's not occupied by your cat or dog, you might want to put one on the mat as you're lying down. Getting quite comfortable, or as comfortable as is possible. You can even keep yourself a little bit snuggled in if you're really struggling with the temperatures currently. It's one of the first mornings we spent together where it's this cold. So potentially just allowing yourself to be covered or warm enough. You can leave scarves and socks on for now, and maybe letting the arms rest, the shoulders soften, and the back come and ground itself onto the mat. If you feel it's okay, please close your eyes. And if it isn't, leave the eyes open and stare at the spot right above you. And as you come to rest there, noticing that there's something that's moving all of the time. And that is moving is your breath. As you feel that with each breath, although there's no control on your breathing quite yet, with each breath, there's cooler air coming in through the nose. And with each breath out, there's warm air exiting the nostrils. And just feel and touch upon that in your mind as you acknowledge the change that occurs with each breath. Each breath will feel a little bit different, and yet it's the same as the cooler air enters and the warmer air exits the nostrils. Allow that breath to keep flowing and find a way of gently deepening the breathing. As you deepen your breath, let the breath move into the belly, into your ribs, and then to your collarbones. Keeping your breath flowing in and out of the nose, accompanied by the sensation in the nostrils. I'm inviting you to use this type of sensation of cool and warm as your anchoring point throughout the whole class. You still feel the belly, ribs, and the space under the collarbones now expanding. And as you breathe out, the belly falling, the ribs come in, the upper chest releasing. If any of you feel comfortable to add Ujjayi technique, that light constriction in the back of the throat, please feel free to do so. As you continue your breath, there is a mantra that goes, Gopala, Gopala, Devakinanda, Gopala. This mantra is calling upon Krishna as a young boy. That's Gopala. This little boy was quite cheeky and mischievous. And sometimes we're trying to maneuver our way through life, and we might be a bit cheeky there as well. So the mantra allows us to acknowledge and remind us that we are always held in love. Gopala is a symbol for the divine that in its effortlessness and love nourishes and protects all beings, so that their life is filled with sweetness and harmony. Gopala, Gopala, Devakinanda Gopala. Imagine how your heart opens to universal love and care. Imagine that there's a power tending to you completely with an open and loving heart unconditionally. Open yourself to this love completely. Gopala, Gopala, Devakinanda Gopala. So my invitation in today's scene is to invite this love, to allow your heart to expand as you step bravely into the idea of also loving yourself while you are connecting to the divine. And as you connect to your heart, creating an environment of loving kindness toward the self, you might be able to then extend that to others too. Nothing more precious in life than love. And yet so scary, as we can lose it at any time. Just as eventually we will lose this body in which we are, and yet the love remains. As you allow your breath to remain deep and full, your awareness at your heart, on your next breath, you might extend your arms over your head and your legs out long. You could then slide your straight legs and extended arms over to the right-hand side while you stay lying on your back though. You could increase this side bend by resting your left ankle on your right and taking a hold of your left wrist. And then keep the breath flowing, but visualize it moving through your left side, waist, ribs, almost up to the armpits. One more breath. And as you uncross ankles, let go of wrists. Let both arms and legs slide over to the left. Again, please stay lying on your back. If you want to deepen, the right ankle crosses over the left. You can take a hold of the right wrist. And once more, letting your breath travel on the side of the body, the side of the waist, to the ribs, to the armpit. And allow another breath like that on this side too. To release, uncross the ankles, let go of the wrists, sliding both arms and legs back to center. And as you release your arms, let your knees come over your chest and give both knees a squeeze in towards the chest. Inhaling here. And with the exhalation, lifting your nose up towards the knees, curl yourself into a knee ball. And then release the head, the shoulders back down onto the mat. Letting your feet gently land on the ground and your arms open out to either side. You can choose the distance between the feet, but you might allow the knees to sway from side to side. Still quite gentle movements as we warm up the body. Checking in with the neck and noticing if you would like to roll the head as well, which becomes an option. And then as you come into center again, let both legs extend out long. Separate the legs to about hip distance. Let your toes remain turned towards the ceiling or dorsiflexion of the feet. Let the arms lengthen straight alongside your body with your palms even touching the outer thighs. Breathing in through your nose. Breathing out from the mouth as you lift the head and shoulders and reach with your fingers to your toes. On your in-breath, lie back. Exhale. Inhale through the nose, lying back. And if you feel a little bit stronger and can keep your feet on the ground, you might sit up all the way. But don't stress, we're lying back down anyway. On the in-breath, on the out-breath, lift or sit. Inhale, release. Exhale, lift or sit. Inhale, release. This next one, I'll ask you all to sit up. If it doesn't come naturally to you, use your forearms, your hands to come up into sitting. And then bend your knees and swing the legs over. Now, I suggest to take any socks off now, at least for a little while, so that we can enjoy the contact to the ground, removing any clothing that is not essential for you at this stage to keep you warm. And then come to sit, ideally upon your heels at the back end of the mat. Now, if this is not okay for you, which it might not be, you can instead stand on your knees. If that's still a bit of pressure on the knees, I suggest to bring a blanket underneath the knees. So whether you're standing on your knees or sitting on your heels, bring your hands together in front of your heart space. Attach the thumbs towards the sternum, and to steady your gaze and with that rest your awareness, look at the front end of the mat or momentarily close the eyes. Connect again to the breath that flows in as you feel the cool sensation touch the insides of your nostrils. And as the warm sensations coming when you exhale through the nostrils. You might feel a very subtle heartbeat in your chest. As we are all aware of, although we're resisting, constant change is occurring even within us at all times. As you inhale, lift your hips away from your heels, reach your arms out and up, maybe lifting the gaze. As you exhale, land your hands down for an all-four stance. Breathe in, lift tail and gaze for a light back bend. Breathe out and round into the cat. Breathe in, lift your feet away from the ground, roll over the knees if that works, and lower the hips and open the heart and the gaze. As you exhale, round your back to sit toward the heels into an extended child's pose. While you inhale, let your arms circle out and then interlace your hands behind your back and lengthen the arms down the back. This is optional. To lift the hips away from the heels, roll to the top of the head and lift the arms away from the back. Rabbit pose. On your out breath, let your arms release along your sides. Child's pose, Balasana. On the inhale, rise up again, lift hips away from heels, lift your arms, extend your gaze. And as you exhale, come back to where we started. Hands to the heart, sitting on heels or standing on knees. Drishti, gaze point, front end of the mat. Feel the change in the heartbeats, the shifts in your breath. And find the steadiness again in your breathing. You have control over it. If you lengthen your out breath, it comes back into balance reasonably quickly. No matter what you're able to do in this practice, you are just perfect in this moment as you are. Go for a second round. As you breathe in, lift your hips away from your heels, lift your arms, your gaze. On the exhale, and the hands down, all four stance. Inhale, lifting tail and gaze for cow shape. Exhaling into the cat with Balasana. As you inhale, lift your feet, lower the hips, open the gaze. On the exhale, round your back to an extended child's pose, the hips sitting towards the heels. On the inhale, circle your arms around. And when you interlace the fingers behind the back, change the finger you had on top, lengthen the arms down the spine. Your choice to stay or to inhale and roll to the top of the head, lift the hips and the arms. On the exhale, Balasana, full child's pose. Rise again away from your heels, raise your arms, breathing in. And bring the hands back to the heart as you sit or stand on your knees. Steady your gaze again, tap back into that occurs and doesn't change. Cool air coming in, warm air coming out of the nostrils. On the next inhale, one last time, lift away from your heels and reach the arms up. On your exhale, landing onto all fours. On a breath in now, tuck your toes under. You may stay here or lift the knees on your out breath into downward facing dog. And potentially starting to move the dog, such as paddling out through the limbs. Maybe getting a swing into the hips. As you gently move the body, stay aware of what you're feeling, assessing more into the physical sensations. And then take a walk to the front end of your mat. When you arrive, a half lift as you breathe in, your hands might rest against your shins, the back is straight. Then soften the knees and fold again, leaving the knees soft. You might choose to let your fingertips brush around your feet. And then let yourself just hang out, the knees soft, maybe the belly is on your thighs. And as you exhale, start rolling up into standing. When you arrive here, reach the arms up as you breathe in. Touch the palms. Soften your knees and take your hands all the way across the heart, down towards the floor. Uttanasana. On the inhale, Ardha Uttanasana, half lift. As you breathe out, step your right foot back and lower the right heel down. On the inhale, let your right arm lift. The left arm can come off the floor and can even rest the forearm down on top of the thigh. Get a sense of not grounding so much, but using your feet to lift from, so that your arm can reach to even touch the ceiling. Don't see yourself limited at all. See yourself expansive, especially in the heart area. And as you breathe out, swing the arm back and down as you bend the back knee. Rest your fingertips to the floor and raise the back heel off the mat. You're welcome to bring this knee down to the mat or inhale and lift your left arm for a twist. Noticing how much changes when we're just turning towards the other side. And allow yourself to explore that same feeling of utilizing the feet to lift from. Then let's swing the upper arm back and down, rest both hands down onto the mat, step your foot back, downward dog. On your in-breath, roll the spine forward and maybe lower your knees down to support full or kneeling plank. Stay here, your tailbone is drawing actively towards your heels and there's a strong lift in between the shoulder blades. As you hold here, you look down to your mat. Imagine you can see your mirror image there. Maybe it's a mirror, maybe it's a water reflection to which you look. And you look at yourself in full acceptance and with love and kindness. On the out breath, bend your elbows and merge with this mirror image that you just admired as you lie down onto the front of your body, untucking your toes. Baby cobra as you inhale to lift the head and the chest. Keep your shoulders down, your elbows in, the tops of the feet into the mat, the knees lifted. Unless there's lower back pain, then you would lift the feet. You might also lift your hands off the ground as you hold in Uttanasana, the cobra. On your next out breath, lower to the mat. On the in-breath, come onto all fours. On the out-breath, extend the child's pose. As you next inhale, come back onto all fours, tuck the toes under and breathe out for a downward facing dog. Please align yourself or move within this shape. Aligning yourself as you lie, bend in the knees, the tail reaching up and back, the shoulders rolling open. And when you then inhale, let your right leg extend. Bend the right knee and open your right knee out toward the side, keeping your shoulders balanced. Inhale. On the exhale, swing this knee towards the right elbow and aim to land or help your foot to land on the outside edge of the hand. Hands are grounded and you might find some organic movements here, just a swaying or loosening up, no rules. And eventually settling in, and you may bring your back knee to the ground if that feels more reasonable for you to do. Grounding down through the right big toe and hugging the right knee into the side of the shoulder. As you may stay here, or lower gently by bending the elbows towards the ground, and maybe it's the forearms that are resting down, and then stay there. Allow yourself again to breathe. The breath moving in, cool air. The breath moving out, warm air. Each breath just flowing in and out. To release, step back up onto your hands. Tuck your toes under if the knee's on the ground, lift the knee. Come to your fingertips now, lengthening your spine and extending into the leg. And as you breathe out, step the foot from the back to the outside of the other hand. Turn your toes lightly out, bend your knees, and place your forearms on top of the thighs with your hands in a prayer position. Your choice to stay right here or to lower into Balasana, your yogic squat, where you place the elbows to the insides of the knees. But other than that, it's the same thing. Spine long, hands touching in front of the heart. Allow yourself to breathe in, feeling the air moving through the nostrils. And wherever your posture is, regard yourself with love. On an exhalation, push down into your feet, rising to stand. Turn your toes forward, take an inhale, lifting the arms, maybe a mini back bend. And with your out breath, let your arms gently drift out and come to stand in a mountain pose. Tall, eyes can close if you like, or just steadying the gaze. Staying connected with the self as you feel the earth nourishing you on which you stand. As you feel the space, the air and the light nourishing you as you reach towards the crown of the head. On your next inhalation, lifting the arms again and your gaze. Touch the palms, soften your knees and draw the hands through the heart line all the way down towards the floor. On the inhale, find a half lift. On your exhale, step your left foot back and ground your left heel. As you inhale, let your left arm lift. And the same here, you can leave both arms extended, but you may also rest your forearm down onto the thighs. This is partial Kanasana, side angle pose. Have the same idea here. Rather than hanging in the shape, use your feet actively to lift you up, to reach with the fingers to the ceiling, to open the heart space. When we release, bend the back knee, swing your arm back and then down, and let your fingertips land to the ground. Raise the back heel and inhale to open your right arm up towards the ceiling. And do the same here again. Use your feet. Get a sense of just lifting all the way up. Although we're twisted, but the breath might have changed a fair bit. So each breath just flows. Cooler air coming in, warmer air moving out. As you release, swinging the arm back and down, landing the hands onto the mat, stepping the foot back. Adho Mukha, your down dog. Inhale, roll the spine forward, and again, come to hold in a plank or a kneeling plank. Take a look once more as you imagine there's your mirror image right underneath you. You look at yourself, filling your heart with appreciation. As you breathe out, lower down onto the mat. Your choice is to repeat baby cobra, make it a fuller cobra, or even lift all the way into an upward facing dog. Breathing in and out. As you notice the changes in heartbeat and in the breath. And as you exhale, either roll over your toes, or you might instead lower back to the mat. Inhale, all fours. Exhale, toes tuck as you stretch back to an extended child's pose. And you might from there raise your knees and join into down dog. But please feel free to also stay on all fours if that feels more reasonable. Again, align yourself. Bring a soft bend into your knees. Reach your tail for up and back. Let the backs of the shoulders open. As you next inhale, lifting the left leg up into the air. Bend the left knee and let your knee and your hip open. Keeping the shoulders squared as you rest here. On the out breath, swing your knee towards your left elbow and aim or help your foot to the outside edge of this hand. And the same on this side. Please feel free to move a little. Let yourself sway and explore the body. And you can then choose to hold your knee off or lower it onto the ground. Encouraging your left big toe into the mat to hug the left knee to the left shoulder. And optionally, you can bend your elbows and lower. And maybe for some, it's the forearms that can rest on the ground. Stay there, breathe. Breathe and let the posture unfold. Even when we're holding, everything is changing as we might hold onto certain things within our bodies, or even taking them for granted when they're healthy and happy. Acknowledging that also that changes. Let's step back up onto the hands. If your knee is on the ground, please tuck the toes under, lift the knee, come to your fingertips, extend your spine, extend into the back leg as you're inhaling. And then take the back foot, step it to the outside edge of the other hand. Bend your knees, let forearms slide onto the thighs, touch your palms together in front of your heart. Or come all the way down into Balasana if your knees and hips allow you to, as you sit between the legs, elbows to the insides of the knees, hands touching, spine lengthens. Maintain this long spine, a deeper sense of self connected to your heart. Breathe in, breathe out. Use your feet to stand up. Turn your toes forward. Breathe in to raise the arms. And as you are exhaling, let the arms drift back out and down by your sides, leaving the palms of your hands facing forward as you return to Uttanasana, the mountain. I will ask you into a short balance. To do so, slide your right toes behind your left heel and leave the back heel away from the ground. As you inhale, raise your arms to about shoulder height. And when you're exhaling, bend into your knees for an awkward squat. While you then inhale, lift the arms up and your knee is rising, foot is flexed. Take your hands to the heart and extend the leg forward. Breathe in, bend your knee and raise your arms. Tap your toes behind, arms to shoulder height and lower into your legs. Breathing in as you lift the knee and the arms again. Flex the foot once more. We're extending forward and back, hands at the heart, as we find a warrior three. If you have the space, please extend the leg all the way backwards. And as you point your toes, step the foot a bit out to the sides and find about hip distance gap between the feet. Then start to bend into your front knee. Warrior one here with your hands at your heart. Inhale now, straighten the front leg, extend your arms and lift your gaze. As you exhale, let the arms circle out and come behind your back. You can choose a reverse prayer or hold onto the forearms or the elbows. Let's squeeze the shoulder blades together and lift the heart as well as the gaze as you inhale. And with the exhalation, lean forward from the hips. You might pause at about halfway point if that feels safe. And if it does, you can lower the head all the way. Keep the squeeze of the shoulder blades, the elbows lifting back. Keep yourself grounded through the feet. And again, that sense as if you're pushing off your feet to lift you. That might allow you to bring the pelvis back into balance. As you stay and breathe out. With your next in-breath, bend the front knee. Release the arms and step your feet parallel just down to a forward fold. Then bend your knees. Rise all the way up to stand and reach your arms up, inhaling. As you breathe out, let the arms drift slowly back down into the mountain pose. Again, steady the gaze. Find inner connection to the beating of your heart. The heart center itself. We'll change to the other side. As you let your left toe slide behind your right heel, leaving the back heel off the mat. As you breathe in, lift your arms in front to shoulder height. As you breathe out, bend into both of your knees for an awkward squat. With the inhale, lift your arms and the knee, flex the foot. On the out breath, hands to the heart and extend the leg forward. Inhale, bend the knees, lift the arms. Step your foot behind, lower arms to shoulder height and squat. On the inhale, lifting the knee and the arms again, flexing the foot. Hands to the heart as you extend torso forward, leg back and find a warrior three. Allow the leg to fully extend and to look down. Then landing the foot out to about hip distance, maintain your hands at your heart, adjust your stance as much as you need to, and bring a bend into the front knee. Noticing all of the changes in awareness, in breathing pattern. As you inhale, extend the front leg and reach your arms up to the ceiling. As you breathe out, circle the arms around and behind your back. If you were with the prayer, just come back into it. If you were holding onto your arms, just swap the arm you had on top. Then breathe in, lift your heart and lightly your gaze. And as you exhale, fold from the hips, lowering your nose down towards the knees, keeping a squeeze between the shoulder blades, the elbows moving back, so the heart is leading you forward in this pose. But instead of leaning forward, lifting actively up from your feet. The majority here is the front foot that really gets you into the lift of the hip that's on that side. Finding this inner balance as you stay and breathe. With the next inhale, bring a bend into the front knee. Let your hands release to the mat. Step your feet parallel. Wiggle your feet a little bit wider and turn your toes outwards. Bend your knees and rest your forearms again on top of your thighs. Find a prayer position, Anjali Mudra, with your hands and keep the spine long. As you stay here or come back all the way into Balasana, depending on how you're feeling. Hands will remain touching in front of the heart. On the inhale, let your arms extend forward and lower the gaze as you breathe out. You're very welcome to use your hands behind you to sit, or if you feel playful, just sitting down without the hands. As we do come to sit today, I'm very sure that we won't need anything anti-slip with the feet. So if your feet are rather cold, you might put your socks back on. We'll extend both legs out in front. And begin by bending the left knee and placing the sole of the foot either to the inner thigh or somewhere against the inside of the leg. If you find forward bending is quite challenging, you may take the end of your mat, roll that up, or use one of your blankets or cushions to sit upon. As you bend the right leg, keep a flexion here in the foot so the toes are facing up. With your fingertips on the ground, breathe in and sit upright. And with the exhale, start to tilt the belly towards the thighs, bringing the hands forward, and then maybe lowering the head. Janushirsasana, the head to knee pose. Let each breath be the one that allows you to melt your heart downwards. Stay connected to the self, wherever you're at in this shape. If you have expectations towards yourself in this practice, unconditional love will fall by the wayside. Allow yourself to be and really connect to this loving energy. There's no discrimination, no particular outcome. Just being here, moving forward. With your next inhalation, come halfway out of the shape. As you breathe out, rise to sit. Take the hand underneath the knee and guide the foot onto the ground and keep a space between the foot and your extended leg. Also keep a hold with your hand or your arm around your left knee. And let your right hand fingertips support straight behind you. As you exhale, twist to the open side. Keeping the straight leg active with the toes pointing up toward the ceiling. Notice that the breath is still flowing. The body has gone through so many changes. Turning towards an open side. To reach our heart to this side as well. With the next inhalation, lift the arm behind you and extend it. With the out breath, swing this arm around and take a hold with your hand or your elbow of the opposite knee now and place your fingertips behind your already inner twist. Now towards the close side. Although it is the knee that hugs towards the heart, it feels a bit more as if you're embracing your own heart. Stay in the awareness as you rest in your twist. With the inhalation, turning the head forward. With the out breath, unwind and extend both legs out long. We'll change sides, now bending the right knee Of course, ideally the foot rests to the upper inner thigh, but if that's not possible, against the inside of the leg is just as good. Keep the foot in the dorsiflexion that's now on the left side and bend your left knee. Let your fingertips rest as you inhale. On the out breath, leading with your heart as your belly comes towards the thigh and the arms might adjust forward and you could carefully lower the head toward the knee. There's no obligation in keeping this knee bent all the time, other than an obligation to self to take note of where you're at, where the breath is guiding you, or if you're feeling stuck. There is an option to extend this leg so you can lower more deeply. But if you're not quite there yet, the bend in the knee will help you to get the same kind of stretch, but with less stress in your back. Keep the focus on that is always moving and changing your breaths, and notice that the same sensation of coolness and warmth still travels through your nostrils. As you next inhale, lift halfway out and straighten your spine. As you breathe out, come to sit. Take the knee from the side and lift it up. Step the foot down onto the mat, but keep a space between the foot and the extended leg. Leave the flexion in the foot on that extended leg and wrap your right arm or hand around the knee. Then circle your left hand fingertips behind your back. And when you're exhaling, turn to an open twist, leaving your shoulders relaxed, steady gaze point. Sense of groundedness, a sense of turning your heart to the side to open. Stay and observe. As you next inhale, let the arm behind you extend backwards. When you breathe out, let that same arm swing around and the hand or the arm takes a hold of the bent knee. Your right hand fingertips come behind and you're already in a closed twist. Although you have changed sides, your gaze or drishti focal point is still steady. The breath is still moving. So you might find more sensations to attend to. On the inhale, turning the head forward. On the exhale, unwind your posture, extending your legs. Wiggle away from any support and remove that or roll out your mat again. Coming to shuffle yourself closer to the front end of the mat. If you need any more clothing on your body, things to keep you comfortable, as in a moment we will embark in relaxation, please feel free to take yourself there. Otherwise, take a hold of the backs of the thighs, lift your feet, and then round your back and keep the knees with you as you hug them again into the chest. And there could be a rocking from side to side again. Now, as you might be aware, I usually do not teach shoulder stands. However, if it is within your own practice and your neck and shoulders, blood pressure is fine, you may go into a shoulder stand. What I will demonstrate and encourage, however, is making fists and popping the fists underneath the buttocks, to then gently extend the legs towards the ceiling. If you happen to practice a shoulder stand, your gaze will stay upwards. Here it's not so important, not that much weight on the head and the neck. As you look at your feet, you might gently move them. Could be squeezing and wiggling of toes. A last attempt to keep the extremities warm. And also a way of creating a flow toward the heart. Appreciation for this part of the body that carried you through this practice and that carries you through life. And if you're in a shoulder stand, think about rolling down slowly. If you're here with me, rock a little bit from side to side, remove the fists from underneath, bending your knees, and allowing the arms then to open, just gently out toward the side. Rocking once more the knees from side to side, this time with the feet off the floor. If you prefer the variation from the beginning of the class, you can go there too. And maybe if the neck feels happy, rolling the head as well as rolling the knees from side to side. As you find your center, releasing your feet down to the mat. If you don't have anything for underneath the knees, but have some pressure in your back, step your feet out wide and let your knees drop in. Otherwise, extending the legs over a cushioning or straight to the floor. If you choose the latter, your legs will be apart rather than touching. Or all the arms will be a bit away from the body, the shoulders snug to the ground, the palms of the hands facing up. And then come into stillness again. Returning to that stillness in the body, accompanied by that very same sensation to which you can reconnect. The cool air traveling in through the nose and the warmer air traveling out. A quote that might engage you more deeply with the topic of love is, "The risk of love is loss. And the price of loss is grief. But the pain of grief is only a shadow when compared with the pain of never risking love." So my suggestion at the time of your relaxation is to expand into love. To imagine that love can spread from your heart center into your whole being, unconditionally expanding, potentially beyond. The connection to the universe, loving kindness unconditionally to self, to universe, and to all living beings. Keep yourself resting with the expansion of the heart. And if the awareness wanders too much, bring it back to the sensation of the cool air in, the warm air out. Gopala, Gopala, Devakinanda, Gopala, 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 Devakinanda, Gopala, 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 Devakinanda, Gopala. As you begin to deepen your breath, start to move gently through fingers and through your toes. Allowing yourself after a little while to maybe even stretch out long. Before you might choose to bend your knees and roll over onto your side, just staying there with your knees towards the chest in a fetal position. And from your side, then joining me in a seated pose. So bring the hands together in front of the heart. Eyes ideally closed, or the gaze steady in front. If you feel that way inclined, you can join me for 3 more rounds of our mantra today. As a reminder, it is Gopala, Gopala, Devakinanda, Gopala. Let's breathe in to start. Gopala, Gopala, Devakinanda, Gopala. Gopala, Gopala, Devakinanda, Gopala. Gopala, Gopala, Devakinanda, Gopala. Let's complete with the chant of breathing in. Keep the connection to the heart and extending our love toward each other with a light bow. Namaste.